Callie with Vulture Rock Review here at the NAMM Show 2020. I'm here with Bjorn Englen, and he is in the Dia Returns and Soulzine band. Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Thanks for meeting up with me today. I appreciate that.
No problem.
How's the event been at NAMM this year?
Been really good. It's always intense and crowded, and but it's been fun. I've had a blast. Yeah.
What are some of your favorite places that you've seen?
I love this booth. I love this man, Daniel Mari. He's a wonderful friend of mine. Definitely one of my favorite places. I have lots of wonderful sponsors, and I love them all.
Aww.
And they make great products, and they're great friends. So
that's the connection we want, right?
Right. Hipshot and Babits and Ibanez and EBS amps and so forth. All wonderful. Mari strings. I played for 23 years almost. So. In a long time.
And you play bass, is that right?
I play bass, and I play a little guitar when I write and record,
Nice.
but mainly bass, yeah.
Let's talk about your music. When did you start getting into music?
Well, you know, I guess it all started when I was 7, 8 years old, and started listening to Kiss,
Yes.
and went on to listening to a lot of different, pop and rock music, and when I was like about 11, 12, I got more into hard rock and metal again. And bands like AC/DC, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden. But I think what really sparked, a lot of my friends, they either play drums or guitar. I started out playing drums for a couple of months, but then, I just didn't find it practical. It was very natural to me. But just all the gear and the loudness and the neighbors, and I was like, you know what? I thought about playing bass anyway, so I was like, okay, I'm going to play bass. Nobody plays bass, and I thought it was just as cool as guitar or drums. So I'm like, And watching bands and seeing, I just thought bass was so powerful. Play one note at a time and it sounds so big.
Yeah.
So after watching like from Judas Priest and AC/DC and Iron Maiden, Steve Harris from Iron Maiden, I was like, dude, that's yeah. So
that's where your passion stems from. Then,
absolutely.
Huh?
And I was 13 years old. When I was about 15 is when I was like, I just saw myself on big stages and touring the world, and so I made up my mind right there. That's what I'm going to do. As
for yourself, do you have any personal projects you're working on, or that maybe be in the process? I've thought for a long time. My intention has been to make a solo record, and when it's going to happen, I don't know, but definitely in sometime in the future. So. Oh. And it's going to be a lot of just naked bass stuff, a lot of just bass. Some tracks might have some percussion or guitar. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to leave it open. What would be your words of wisdom? My words of wisdom for anybody who plays music or wants to play professionally is you have to have fun. If you're not having fun, get out. Yeah. I have a question for you, Bjorn. If you could be any type of music gear in the world, what type would you be? The first thing that comes to mind would be a bass amplifier. I don't know why, but it produces the tone and amplifies the sound of the bass. So why not? And my sponsor EBS, they make wonderful amps. So I would probably be an EBS bass head. We call them heads, the amplifier, and then yes. Good. I'm going to write them a suggestion, say I want that happen. And they're made in Sweden just like I was, so. It was meant to be. It was meant to be, yeah. And they're wonderful. We're like family. When you're on tour and you're on stage and performing live, what's the emotion that you carry on stage that you want to portray to the audience? It's a really good question, because I think it's all about kind of letting go and getting in the zone and relaxing and not worried too much about stuff. You want to be focused, you want to know the songs, but you're there to entertain. And if you worry too much about it, you're not doing yourself a favor, you're not doing the audience a favor, because they're not there to see you fail. They want to be entertained. So you have to, and it can be kind of tough sometimes. And get in that zone and really give it all and be that entertainer every night. Sometimes it's difficult, but it's important. How do you stay healthy? I don't. No, I don't sleep properly, and and when you're on the road, it's easy to have, a couple of beers every night. It's a lot of calories, you know.
But you just got to do things in moderation, you know.
Like stretch in the mornings.
Right.
Is really good.
Try to exercise. Try to take walks as much as possible.
That's good.
Try to relax. Try not to get too stressed out about stuff.
Yeah.
That's important. Emotional stress is a killer. So
that's what gets me, honestly.
right. And a lot of people get sick that way, you know. And you just gotta find balance in life, you know. Exercise and take walks and sleep and all that stuff is important. Proper nutrition, obviously, which can be tough when you're touring, to find quality food and all that stuff. You're dealing with a lot of fast food and truck stops, and you know, you get catering and all that stuff. But you know, be careful and just do the best you can. You know, I mean, it's always a hobby when you start out until you're. My first gig was I was 15 and I played at a school dance party, and I was very serious about it. So I was very nervous because, like, to me, it was. You know, this is serious matter, you know, and it went horribly wrong, and the lighting broke down, the sound system broke down. I think we blew a fuse or something. It was not good. But I think the singer ended up singing through a guitar amp or something, and you know,
I bet it was epic.
Yeah, it was epic. It was cool, and it was a big thing for me. And when I was 18 is when I did my first paid gig. And remember growing up in Sweden, every gig I did after that, we got paid all the time. So it's strange coming to California and you know, getting gigs offered and we weren't getting paid. I'm like, what's going on? This is strange. So that didn't go on for too long. Then, you know, after being here for about a year and a half, I started touring with Quiet Riot. So that was cool. I was 23. They were a lot older than me. And I've just kept going since then. I played in a lot of bands. I've done a lot of freelance sessions, and you know, and it's been a great learning experience. Just playing different styles of music with a lot of different people has taught me so much, and I'm very grateful.
Do you have different instruments that you play on the stage?
Very good question. Sometimes it's the same, but for a bass guitar, for example. When you play live, you may want to set your guitar up so it's comfortable with the action low, where the strings are close to the fretboard. But when you record, that can be a problem because you get a lot of rattling and all that kind of stuff, and the strings don't move freely as much. And you know, bass strings move in a big radius, and they need a lot of space to move. Live, it's okay; you can deal with some of that noise, unless you're recording a live record or something, you know. But when you're in the recording studio, that's one of the main things. So you can use the same instrument. Sometimes you just have to adjust them a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, and when you record too, you got to make sure that your intonation's good, intonation's set up, and all that stuff. Which means that all the notes on the whole fretboard are in tune as much as possible. Live, that's not as important, but important also. But recording, you know, I mean, you can hear everything so well in a recording because everything is, you know, very audible. So,
yeah. Do you still get overwhelmed like the giddy?
On stage sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I used to be having nightmares about certain people showing up when I played, and now that's happened, I've had my idol standing next to me on stage watching me play, but you just got to block it out because it would freak me out too much. And once you've done that a few times, you get used to it.
What do you have going on right now in the music world, and what do you have going on in the future?
Gonna go back out with Dio Returns this summer, supposedly, to North America.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Can't wait.
Congratulations, supposedly.
Yeah, and hit a lot of places we didn't hit last time. We're gonna record with Soul Sign and put some new music out, and that's gonna be awesome. Can't wait. And I'm also working with a band called Foundry. We got some really good new music coming out too.
Where is the best place for us to hear all your music that you're the bands that you're in, and keep track with you and follow you at?
Well, my website bjornenglen.com has a lot of links. BJORNENGLEN.
That's a one-stop.
Yeah, it has a lot of links to some of the bands, but also if you go on Spotify and you search my name, or you go on Google Play or any of those, stuff will pop up in YouTube as well. So any of those sources, really.
I appreciate your time. Thank you. Continuing to create music for everyone to hear.
You're welcome. My pleasure.